what's the first memory you have of feeling hospitality from another individual?
Oh, my first one ever? I would say at a restaurant when I was probably 13 years old in Pittsburgh. We were out with the family, and I remember this was in the 50s, and I got treated with waiters and great service and great food. I remember getting a prime rib, and when they put the prime rib in front of me, it was the size of what pot roast would have been when we were children for family. What I remember and what I've tried to continue is the experience. We had this experience given by the waiter with great service that was selfless. So what I got into was the experience business, and hospitality was my vehicle.
Reading was founded in 1748. It was just the town of Reading. It did not become a city until 1848. But then after the Civil War, that's when you started seeing the industrial boom starting to take off in Reading. It really just became a desirable place to want to come and do business. Back in the 70s, there was a large push to rehabilitate some of the unused warehouses. So they made a bunch of these old warehouses shopping outlets, and they were destinations. As time went on, the one thing that was the main anchor to that was the Pomeroy's department store. In 1984, they announced that they were closing. One by one, all the other old staples of downtown Reading started going away. So when locals would call Old Reading kind of went away in that span of time.
More than 100 years ago, Reading was a symbol of industrial power, home to the Reading Railroad, so famous from the Monopoly game, and in its day, one of the richest corporations in the world. Today, though, Reading is a different sort of symbol, as a new census reckoning makes it the poorest city in the nation.
I've seen Reading, what it was like when I was younger, and, all the changes that it went through. People left their doors open. You walk down the street, you didn't have to fear nothing.
Crime scared the people away. The stores will start closing down.
Most people that aren't familiar with the city think that, it's dangerous, don't walk around at night, like that kind of stuff.
But it's nothing like that anymore.
My name is Kyle Allison, and this is the story about how hospitality gave the people of Reading a second chance. Within this crime-ridden and impoverished city is a hotel, one that used to be the centerpiece of the town. It used to be a Sheraton, actually.
When it was a Sheraton, it was actually one of the highest grossing Sheratons in the world at one point. The management would just buy other buildings and then take our revenue to fund those buildings.
Management and ownership had deteriorated the property to the point where the Sheraton brand said, we're stripping you of your franchise. Rebranding to a Crowne Plaza did not fix the issues.
Financially, they were in trouble. The community hated them. It was just the bottom of the bottom. They couldn't have done anything worse with that hotel.
They did have duct tape holding leaks on pipes.
I got suspended at the Crown for calling off for 1 day in 2 years.
So at that point, they fired the general manager and they brought Craig in from Pittsburgh.
I knew when I was in Pittsburgh, and we had a hotel, and someone said, will you come to Reading, PA? And I said no, because I didn't want to go to this hotel because I knew the history of the hotel that was broken. And I was the right person for it, but I didn't want to come to Reading until I read about Reading. And then when I understood that Reading was a marginalized community, it excited me. And so my wife and I thought, if we can come here and work in this hotel and get this hotel right and put this culture right and get it in line right with the city, that we would be able to go and work inside the city and help make a difference for people that have been forgotten.
Craig has a history of fixing hotels and using hospitality, radical hospitality and unconditional hospitality as a means to do so.
That literally first day after he came in at, let's say 9:15, by 9:30 we're in an office, and I swear to God we were in there probably until 4 o'clock that day.
Everybody feared their job when he came in, and he fired a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Craig calls me up. He's like, I got good news and good news. I said, what's the good news? He goes, I fired the whole maintenance department. I guess this is when they turn the pool into a boiling pot.
He said the right things. Like he believes what I believe. Like it's about the service. It's like you take care of the guest and they will take care of you.
And when Craig came, that was a time where I was like, wow, now I'm looking at this job differently. Now I'm looking at hospitality differently.
So 5 years with Craig where we took it from the train wreck that it was into, back then, it was the place to go.
Craig and his team were able to take this failing hotel and take it from 178 in the brand to 7. Craig, I believe he actually had said in one of his interviews with the local newspaper that he had planned to retire after the Crowne Plaza and that, he was getting ready to kind of start to wind down a little bit. But during his time in Reading, he had been told, hey, Craig, there's somebody in Reading you really, really have to meet. He's just like you. And that person was Albert Boskov, chairman of Boskov's department store, which operates department stores all over the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic area, and started in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Friday and Saturday, play Register Roulette at Boskov's. Every time you make a purchase, we ring up extra savings of 5 to 50% on almost everything you buy. Friday and Saturday at Boskov's.
Albert Boskov's dream was to build a hotel in downtown Reading to bring hope to the community.
Albert Boskov, who passed, had the same philosophy, the same vision, the same everything as Craig. I swear Craig and him could have been related.
Albert Boskov was the lead developer on the Doubletree downtown Reading hotel project to bring this $67 million property to life, and he hired Craig Poole to run the hotel. It was the match made in heaven.
This hotel would not have been accomplished without many of you who are here today, and that's true. And you're going to be invited back to the grand opening in the summer of 2015, whether you stay here and wait or whether you go to the reception afterwards.
It's been 10 years before they even said, oh, we're going to build a hotel, we're going to build a hotel. And it was just an empty lot. And then they finally did the groundbreaking, Craig, Albert Boskov. dignitaries. And that's when I got excited.
The Doubletree Hotel is taking shape in Center City. The steel beams that make up the hotel's frame are now going into place. The $50 million hotel will be 8 stories high with more than 200 rooms, a grand ballroom, and an indoor pool. The hotel is in the 700 block of Penn Street, across from the Santander Arena.
The Doubletree Reading downtown was the first hotel of its kind. The mission was to bring the pulse, bring the heartbeat, and to bring life back to Reading. There was a core group of people who had started out at the Crown Plaza who followed Craig to the Doubletree, and he built that team up from the core group.
The starting team who was here 5 years ago, to see us all be here when it was completely empty and put the hotel together, put lampshades together, we put together this hotel, physically, pin pads, irons, everything.
When they announced that they're hiring for general positions and they're looking for labor from the hotel, the community comes out in droves. Finally, a town that has been decimated has an opportunity for meaningful employment and to make an impact. Across the street from the site of the hotel is the Santander Arena, an arena that hosts concerts, sporting events. It's a large urban arena, so they host the hiring fair there because they're expecting such a huge turnout.
Thousands, 3,000s, it wrapped around the block. It was crazy with the number of people that came. And one of the things that Craig did is he walked up the sidewalk. Now, these people don't know who he is, really, and then he would talk, because Craig talks to everybody. And people who responded back with that, are you going to talk to the stranger on the street? And so if they were outgoing and friendly, he pulled them out of line. And literally, they were hired for this hotel.
I knew about this hotel coming in here, and that sparked my interest. But again, I also heard Craig's name. So obviously they went hand in hand together, but I did not know to the extent of how incredible Craig was going to be.
He makes you feel like you have known him forever, and just as if you're his best friend.
I love working with Craig Poole. Craig Poole has been a fascinating person to work with. Not only do I respect him, but I also care for him.
He always is kiss guy. He give a kiss to everybody. He give a hug to everybody, and it don't matter. He say you 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Always he shake your hand. Always he asks you what I can do for you. Always.
He don't mind helping. He don't mind. I've seen him do dishes. I've seen him serve. I've seen him cook. He leads by example.
The first time I met Craig, I walked into the hotel for my second day of work, and there was this older gentleman that just kind of came up and gave me a hug right away, and I was like, "Hi, who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm Craig Poole. I'm the general manager. I'm basically your boss." And I was like, "Oh, well, very nice to meet you." So the first thing I remember was just the big hug and the introduction right away, "This is my hotel. How can I help you out?" And then, because I was dressed in the all black with the name tag, he was like, "What can I do for you? If there's ever anything you need, just let me know." So it was just a big, warm hug and welcoming right away.
We had a lot of elderly travel business that came on buses. And they would travel and they would come stay at our hotel. And they, at nights, we would bring in a little singer for them, and he would put on a little Yabba Dabba Doo show for them in the back, like a lounge singer guy, like an Elvis impersonator, which we've had many times. So, but when they rolled in on these buses, first time Craig said, "Okay, come on, I got 2 outfits. We're gonna go out and grin." Like, "What are you talking about, 2 outfits?" Literally had Willy Wonka outfits and hats, purple and all, with the cap, cane, and we went out and went on the bus and welcomed all these older guests.
Craig Poole was able to revitalize the city and change the lives of each and every employee inside the building and each and every guest who has the privilege of being served by them.
I think we show that we genuinely care about our guests. We don't come off as fake. And some people will say, "Oh, they're overly friendly," and we've gotten that on some of our reviews, but it's just how we all are. Everybody's gonna ask you how you're doing, or if you need anything, or what can we do better.
Our biggest thing is a care closet. So that is downstairs next to HR, and it is donations from employees, staff members, myself. It's just gently used clothing, home accessories, bathroom accessories. It doesn't matter. Toiletries, whatever. We accept it, we give it away for free to all of our employees or a neighbor. Whatever you need and you know somebody who needs something, we have it. Come in and look.
I was vice president of the care committee. We just get together and we'll try to talk about like safety in the hotel, making sure people are being safety. What can we do to make people better and stuff like that. And then as well, we'll book things to help outside of the hotel, feed the homeless, go to the Opportunity House, Hope Rescue Mission, donate stuff. I think the one time we brought a piano to Pensy and we was having people have like a couple in February having dinner while somebody played piano.
When school was in session, me, Liz, Sage, Nakia Davis, we would go up there and we would just cross the kids across the street. I've done things for the Animal Rescue League. We've had dogs and cats all across the outside of Penn Street, and they came in, you're giving them their shots and making sure that they were licensed and things like that.
So we also have done financial literacy classes for a lot of our employees who are in need if they need help with budgeting. Kind of get your credit score up too. What can we do to help you? What kind of debt do you have? What can we look at together? And that's with a bunch of banks that we've had in this community. So everything, again, is community driven. And they've come back 3 times to do that. And people have graduated, like with certificates saying, like, pass my financial literacy course. It's wonderful.
Not only have they found a way to offer employment, but they have found a way to care for those that they employ.
I was just elected this last election, so I was inaugurated in January. But I've been involved in the community. I was a school board member previously. I've also been blessed to have had my son employed here for, 3 years, Daniel? He's high-functioning autistic. Daniel has found a family here. They treat him equal. They don't treat him any differently. And he gets paid equal employment of salary.
I really have to thank the nice people and the coworkers that really do help me with that. Probably wouldn't overcome it if it wasn't for that.
We have at least 20 people that have autism, Asperger, Down syndrome. They all have gifts. And I don't hide my people in the back. I don't give them menial jobs. So I'm working at banquets. I have one in laundry.
There's a tendency for people in the spectrum to be repetitive on doing something and they feel comfortable. And originally we thought that he was going to be a great fit somewhere in the kitchen, polishing the silverware. And he interviewed Daniel and he's like, no, Daniel's a lot more valuable than that. So he sees you for who you are, and gives you every opportunity to grow.
Craig, when he made the offers, I say, I can make supervisor because I don't speak English. He said, I don't care. You don't need to speak English. You do your job the right way I want done. That is important for me. And I am start to make the job and I am start to learn in the hotel. When I am start supervisor, I am really, really scared to go to the meeting. And Craig, the manager this time, say, come to the meeting, listen, and you go to learn. Just come to the meeting. First, I don't like it. Right now, I am coming to every single meeting in the morning because I am learning from him.
What companies are saying they want to do, I want to be inclusive and diversified. I'm inclusive and diversified. I don't have to put a statement up that I am. You walk in, it is.
My first conversation with Craig Poole is incredible. Like I said, he sat in on the interview. He didn't have any clothes, so I had on bare anything. And Craig says, you're in good shape. I said, yeah. He says, what size are you? Yeah, I don't know. I can't make this up. Craig stands up, takes off his jacket. Doesn't know me from a can of paint. Doesn't even know if I smell or not. He says, try this on. Gives me his own coat. I try the coat on. It fits me. but I'm still a little huskier than Craig. Craig says, I have a couple of suits home, I'll bring them to you. That was our first meeting with Craig.
Luther was the second person that I met on our journey to the Doubletree in Reading, Pennsylvania, aside from Craig Poole. So Craig was waiting outside for us at the entrance, and immediately after shaking hands with Craig, Luther, with a bell cart in hand, comes straight through the sliding doors with the warmest greeting. Welcome to the Doubletree. My name is Luther. It's so nice to have you. We've been expecting you.
This is the home away from home that you can count on. I take your luggage up, I make sure your room is all set up, I make sure that your air conditioner is on, I make sure your lights are on. I want you to feel like I was waiting for you. That's the key. That hospitality that you received when you first walked in, that is mesmerizing to you, you've seen nothing yet. I set this hotel up and you got people thriving. I'll show you the best hospitality you've ever seen. That's how I get down. Sometimes I would come in here, we have the Jazz Fest or something. Hey, Luther, what's up? Showtime, baby. Watch this. I'm ready. Let's get it popping. Let's go. Let's go. Let's show them what we're about. Let's show them how we make this happen. Let's show them why Craig trusts us.
We later found out that Luther was a second chance hire. Turns out that he had spent 22 plus years in prison from when he was a young kid all the way up until recently.
Had a lot of rough run-ins with the streets, the police. I've been incarcerated numerous times. And I had a lot of bad days in there, days that I cried like a baby. And I'm not scared to admit it. I would tell anybody. There were days when my cellie would be up there and I would turn to the wall when I'm out and no one and put the pillow over my face and cry because I was in hell.
So let's talk, why did he go to prison? Because no one's ever been behind him. Nobody was there to teach him. So I say, follow me, I'll be behind you. I told him that. I said, you got out, I will take care of you. I will be behind you. When they know they have someone that cares about them and trusts you, they'll take a bullet for me, and I'll take a bullet for them.
In order to give yourself a chance, you're gonna need somebody to believe in you. And it's probably 9 times out of 10 the person you least expect. Couldn't have thought that Craig was gonna believe me. You guys know me from a can of paint. I'm a criminal. Let me run your security. Me? You wanna give me keys? A criminal? I got credit card fraud on my record and everything. You wanna give me people's information? Yeah, I'll give it to you. Only you can mess it up. You wanna go back to jail? Don't go back there, then don't mess up. Once I started working here, I still had self-doubts. Like, they would say, hey, go out there and sweep up cigarette butts. Man, cigarette butts? Oh my God. But where I'm at now, I understand why I needed to pick up the cigarette butts. The cigarette butts was an introduction to me caring about where I worked at, caring how it looked, caring about the presentation of it. And as I stayed and I continuously grew, I was taught many things, and a lot of things I self-taught myself. And the next thing I knew, man, I was just going up the ladder, and I didn't know anything about reviews, anything. I didn't know how important that was. Prior to me being incarcerated, no one was really paying attention to reviews, nor did I. But now it's like, if you get a bad review, that company's in trouble. Or if you get a good review, it makes a big splash and applause for that company. And next thing I know, they were like, a defining moment for me was, they were like, hey, Luther, we're having a rally for all the employees. You're supposed to be to work 3 o'clock. Try to be in a little bit earlier, you need to be at this rally. Rally? Yeah. So I get to the rally, but the reason I needed to be is because I won Employee of the Month. What is that? It's like, wow, someone recognized my work. It's the pat on the back. Got the Employee of the Month, but that was the thing. I barely did anything though. Watch me turn it up now.
We don't hire people what they did yesterday. We hire people for who they are today and what they're going to be tomorrow. When you have a forgiveness line, and what you did doesn't really matter. It doesn't complicate my life at all, because I didn't hire you for what you did. I hired for who you are today.
You have a second chance. What you gonna do with it now? Do the right thing.
And Luther is just one of many people that we interviewed at the hotel whose lives have been changed by the culture of the hotel and by Craig Poole's philosophy.
I walk down, go to church every Sunday, walk past, looked at the place, how it was under construction. I said, I'm gonna get in there. God, please let me get in there. And then I was starting to stalk Craig. He likes to say. I found him over at the Crown Plaza. I said, here's my resume, my recommendations and awards that I won at the other hotel, and I worked at the Homewood Suites too.
Last week, Bill was here and he had holes in his shoes. I gave him $70 to buy shoes, and he came walking in on Monday with new shoes on. And he was so happy. Now, he doesn't owe me anything. It was his joy was showing me his shoes. He spent time in prison. You have to understand who you're dealing with. So shoes and jackets, particularly shoes, are important, because when you're in prison, you only own shoes, your little clothes you have, and maybe something else that's not sharp. So they become territorial. That's a territorial item, shoes. So because I heard their stories, I know how important shoes are.
And you know, when he came in here, he was happy to put his shoes up here and show us.
Who did?
Bill.
Bill, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he told you.
Oh, he did, yeah. He was really happy as well.
Well, what's that worth? I mean, you can't buy that.
Craig, he's like an angel. I sat in on one of their meetings right in here. And Craig, this is my first Christmas then that I had with here. And Craig is mentioning to me, he says, Bill, we know you live alone. And your mom just passed away. You're living by yourself. I said, Christmas time, Christmas Eve, I want you to stay here for the night. Have yourself a dinner, stay the night, and then have breakfast in the morning. So that means you know you're around people you like, your co-workers, my other extended family. And that meant, oh my God, yeah, okay. Are you sure? You know. And that made me feel so good that Craig would think of something like that. He says, I don't want you to be alone for Christmas. Stay here with us. Have your dinner. Have the room. We'll give you a room and breakfast in the morning. And then what got me then, I came down and I figured, oh, I'll bring my clothes and stuff. When I worked that day, that night I go up to the room. I got into the room, there was 3 presents on the bed. A sweater, what do you call them? Blankets, things you drape over your chair, gloves. And they had that sitting on the bed, and on the TV stand they had a card signed by him. So I said, oh my God, this is, you know, pinch me, you know, is this really happening that a general manager can go beyond like that, help me out? And then from that point on, every Christmas he says, if you want to stay, Bill, you can. You know, we'll feed you. Dinner, the breakfast. Stay the night. You know, we don't want you to sit at home, you know, being depressed. I said, wow. I said, okay. I don't have no kids. I'm never married. I do live by myself. It's tough.
Yeah.
So when you come to work and you meet the same people, and it's an extended family.
Most Christmases, we invite so many poor families in as well in the community. And we try to get a selection of people. So there's kids, and there's bills, and there's other people. So it's not just, when you're here with a tree, it's not just you, because it's not authentic. There's got to be other people that are sharing the same joy. When you put them all in a room and there's You had the opportunity to hear laughter. You had the opportunity to watch people open up presents. You had the opportunity to participate in joy at a joyful occasion. That's great. It's a great day.
I was born and raised here in Reading. I lived with my mom pretty much until I was maybe about 15. And then I started experiencing what life in the streets had to offer. And the drugs led me to be a person that I wasn't, or me do things that I wouldn't normally do. It makes people act out of character. That was never part of my plans in life. Who wants to be a druggie? Nobody. The last time I was incarcerated was October 13th of 2019. I said to myself, self, when I get out, I'm changing. I'm gonna land me a job at the Doubletree. And here we are, August 25th, so 2020. And I did what I said I was gonna do. I got the job at the Doubletree. I know that this was a good place to work at. And I know if I get this job, it will give me the foundation for what I want to build. When Mr. Poole saw me standing there, I was talking to him, and I told him what my intentions were. He said, don't leave here without an interview. I already know what kind of man he is and what his mission is. So that's another reason why I said I want to get a job there. Because I had faith in Mr. Poole.
Craig Poole's a visionary. He looks outside of conventional.
He's always said to us that if you follow me, I got your back.
Follow me and I will be behind you.
That's his phrase, you know. You follow his leadership. Do what he does. Take care of your people. Take care of the guests. And he'll take care of you.
From gang members to presidents of companies, it doesn't matter to us who you are. We just love you unconditionally.
My attitude was terrible toward people, toward life. Now I see, like, there are people who don't look down on you. They want to help you get to where they are. So that's why I strive every day to come here and do my best job. And so far, I think I'm doing pretty good because they love me here.
The people you would never expect were the nicest, sweetest people to me.
We're all friendly with each other. Like, I have long-lasting friendships with a lot of the people that I work with, and we incorporate the guests into that community.
Craig has that hospitality stick in your heart. So he turns it from just, you know, if Craig's in the lobby, you have to smile and wave. Until you work for him for so long where it's genuine. That even if he's around or not, or no one's around, you genuinely want to say hello to people, see how people are doing, help them out.
Being bullied before makes me unhappy. I don't know if the people that are walking in the building is happy or not. I don't know if they've been bullied, they are down. So how can I help them? Like, make them feel comfortable, make them feel welcome, make them feel they are loved. It's hard. Like, sometimes hospitality is what they need. That's all they need.
Once you see all the reactions of, I've never seen anyone serve food this fast, I've never seen more smiling faces in your servers, I've never been more welcomed and appreciated like you guys have, like, you want to go touch the tables then. You want to go get the praise.
You find a place that you love and you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
I don't feel inside when I am work in the hotel because I love my job.
You know, I walk in the doors feeling my utmost happiest. I feel like I could provide everybody with my true self, and that's exactly what I needed.
To come someplace and your responsibility is to interact with people, make them feel good, you know, that's an easy job.
The best thing I've gotten out of working specifically here is working for a great leader.
This is 4 years old, $65 million, 209 rooms, in the second poorest city, in the second highest crime rate in the country, in the heart of the city. Nothing's been built here for 21 years to us. Only thing that's been open 24/7, 7 days a week, that has a heart and a pulse beat in 20-some years.
They kind of sat back and said, nobody will come to downtown Reading, nobody will come to downtown Reading. The crime, this, that, the other thing, and people did come to downtown Reading.
We've seen revitalization efforts all across the state.
Many people in Reading say they hope the new Penn Street Bridge serves as a bridge to economic success.
The Penn Street Market sets up shop every Thursday in downtown Reading.
The spirit of collegiality and cooperation has brought us to this moment in history, the start of Reading College Town.
Alvernia's College Town project is anticipated to help transform Reading by bringing education, jobs, and economic development to the city.
I have learned to love this city. Because of this hotel, it has grown, it's blossomed, it's become the light of the area.
And that was one of our purposes, to build a city and make it better.
That's what hotels are, hospitality, they're community. They're not just a cash flow, they're a major part of the community.
We've been the #1 Doubletree in the world, twice.
Albert's dream came true. A lot of people said nobody will cross the bridge. We have 500,000 people a year come across the bridge just to come to the Doubletree. So people are ready. I would say this, get ready. It has just begun.